EA Sports. It's in the game.
Yeah, F1 2000. This is EA Sports' first Formula One game that came out in 2000 and started that short span of Formula One games from 2000 through 2003 that we remember so fondly. This game made a big splash when it was released. It was developed by ImageSpace Incorporated for the PC, and it was actually simultaneously released for the PlayStation, but pretty much a completely different game. That one was developed by Visual Science, who had been doing some Formula One games up until that point, but this one was developed by ImageSpace Incorporated, who had just come off making Sports Car GT, which I looked at recently. They went on to make the next few Formula One games for the PC for EA Sports, from F1 2000, 2001, 2002, and then culminating with 99 through 02 Championship Challenge, which is remembered very fondly and still played by a lot of people today. But this was the first one. Expectations were high for an officially licensed Formula One sim developed by ImageSpace Incorporated, seeing as Sports Car GT was such a success. And at the time, expectations were met. This received pretty high review scores from most outlets and even simmers at the time. I remember this being quite popular. But man, looking back at it, it is not quite as pretty as it seemed at the time, and my oh my, the circuit design is interesting, but it's a really interesting time capsule to look at for what PC sim racing was like around 2000. And of course, the competing series, it's amazing there were actually two separate franchises of Formula One simulators for the PC that had the official licenses. And so Jeff Crammon's Grand Prix 3 had been out and I think was receiving the 2000 season patch around that time, and that definitely is the better simulator, but this one's interesting and I thought it'd be fun to take a look at. I was taking a look at this for a couple different reasons, but figured I could do a couple races since there's not a lot out there about F1 2000. And I will say, out of all of the older PC games that I've been taking a look at, this is by far been the hardest one to get running reliably, and it's not even that reliable. I'll do my best with the video to make it seem like everything was perfect, but loading the races will crash probably 75% of the time, and it seems random when it works, which makes no sense for computers, but I have been able to make it work. You have to use DGvoodoo, which is a DirectX wrapper, to get this to work, and then cross your fingers a bit, but after you see it, maybe you won't actually want to try it out, but man, it's been a really hard sim to get working. So let's take a look at the game itself. There's 5 different modes that the game has, and F1 2000, this first entry, it's all about simplicity, so it's kind of a no-frills Formula One simulator, but I kind of like it for that. It's just very basic, straightforward, to the point. Test day, quick race, just doing quick events and testing your car, available all cars, all circuits, everything. Grand Prix, of course, you can race a full weekend with different practices and qualifyings and things, and then your championship mode, do all of the 17 rounds, I believe, from the Formula One 2000 season, and race on through. Multiplayer, of course, from the time would have been a lot of fun as well. And I should mention that this is F1 2000, and unlike a lot of simulators or games, I guess I'd say, sports games, which say they're from a year, but they actually feature the content of the year earlier, this one attempts to actually feature all the content from 2000. And you can see one of them on the main page here with Jaguar Racing, but let's actually jump into quick race, and I can go through some of the drivers selected here on Pedro de la Rosa with the Aeros team, and yeah, we get the first visuals of the cars. I will say all the car models are different, which is not something that was extremely common in Formula One games up to this point. Grand Prix 3, again, the competing sim, used the same car model for every single car, so it was quite novel that they had different cars. Got Jos Verstappen as well. Of course, British-American Racing with Jacques Villeneuve, Ricardo Zonta there. Benetton with Fisichella and Alexander Wirtz. And then, of course, the powerhouse Ferrari, Michael Schumacher, started his dominance in 2000, winning the first of, I think, the 5 championships in a row in 2000, but closely followed by McLaren. We'll get to them in a second. Got Rubens Barrichello, of course. And then we get the Jaguar, which was one of the main additions for 2000. Highly anticipated that the Jaguar team was entering Formula One with Eddie Irvine and Johnny Herbert. And they performed very well in this game. In the races I've done, they seem to be up front all the time. So one thing interesting to note, this game came out really early in 2000. So the fact that it actually has the 2000 cars and tracks and things, we'll get to those in a second, is pretty astonishing. So they had to make some guesses with some of this, and they thought Jaguar, as everybody did, was going to take the world by storm and take it to Ferrari. They did a little less than that, but they had entered the sport, taking over for Jackie Stewart's team, and everybody was excited for Jaguar. So we've got them in the game. We'll get to the Jordan team, of course, with the yellow livery and the B on the front of the nose cone. Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Jarno Trulli for them, iconic cars. McLaren, of course, always took the fight to Ferrari. Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard. We got the non-tobacco liveries, of course. Minardi, everybody's favorite. This era of Formula One 2000 is very I reminisce about it quite a bit. I think a lot of people feel this way. It was an interesting time. It wasn't quite as exciting, in my opinion, as maybe the early 90s or the 80s was, but I look back at this fondly now that it's in the past. We got the Prost team with John Alesi and Nick Heidfeld, Yahoo sponsorship, so it shows you the time. PlayStation as well. They had a pretty good set of sponsors on that car. The Sauber team should be getting towards the end of all the teams. The Red Bull Sauber team, of course, Mika Salo as well on that team. Ralf Schumacher with Williams. This is, of course, before Juan Pablo Montoya would have come in to Williams as well. And back around the world to Arrows. So interesting set of cars. It is nice that they're all modeled differently, but it's a little rough. The driver's helmets, first of all, seem a little small. And maybe for this quick race, I'll do Ricardo Zonta. We'll race as Jacques Villeneuve's teammate. BAR car was kind of mid-pack, so should have a fair shot at things doing some quick races. So we'll come over to the tracks, and it's the full 2000 calendar, which again is impressive. The main addition to 2000 was the US Grand Prix at Indianapolis, and what an event that was. It's probably the most attended Formula One race of all time, or one of them up there. It's crazy impressive how many folks were at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that day to see the race. Packed stadium, very exciting event. If you can find a replay of it somewhere, recommend watching it. It's just a lot of excitement about Formula One racing at Indy again. And of course, they did race there technically in the 50s, but it's the first proper, Formula One race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Maybe they'll go back there soon. But the track is in the sim, which is interesting because I believe in March of 2000 when this game was released, it didn't really exist fully yet. Maybe the plans were somewhere, but yeah, you can tell it when you're driving around it that they didn't really have anything to model off of. But unfortunately, I could say the same for pretty much any other circuit on here. A lot of them are roller coasters. I remember looking back at Formula One Challenge 99 to 02 pretty recently and thinking the circuit design was not quite what I remembered, but this is much, much worse. So they actually improved quite a bit over the span of the EA games. Interesting for a first try. The tracks themselves, they're probably the biggest letdown of this. We'll get to those in a second. But the full calendar, so we've got Manicourt, Australia. I do like the track maps, and all the artwork and everything is done really well. So it gives you a good impression of the tracks. Nice that they include things like the gear and everything that you would be in around certain corners so that you can take those notes down and then use that as you're trying to perfect your laps. But cool time capsule of tracks as well. The tracks are all slightly different, of course, than the ones today. Even the tracks that they still race at, like Monza, the chicanes are profiled differently. I'll go to the Nürburgring here. Different first set of corners as well. Malaysia, Great Britain, Belgium with Spa, and we have the chicanes towards the end of the lap. Much different configuration than it is today. Japan, Australia, Barcelona with the old Hockenheim with the chicanes going through the forest. Maybe we'll try that one out in a second. And then back around to Hungary, Imola. So great set of tracks. I guess all the classics that you would want, and of course the full calendar from the 2000 season. So I thought I'd do a few quick races just to show off what the game is like, and figured we could go where the season began in Australia. All right, so here we are on the grid at Albert Park. 4-lap race, so it should be a pretty quick one, but lights are lit. Out, we're underway. Just try to control the wheel spin off the line. Everybody in front slams into each other. See if I can get around the pack. The AI are pretty aggressive, especially with each other. We'll come down to the first corner, though, and have to take it extremely easily because the tires are so slick. Oh, I hit Ralph Schumacher there. The tires are so slick when they're cold. It's unbelievable. It's so hard to steer, but once we get going, things should even out a little bit. Might be something with the setup as well. I've tried loading a couple different setups, but we'll come down here.
You collided with Alexander Berg.
Oh, I don't think I hit words there, but we'll see. The spotter, the crew chief, likes to tell you everybody that you somewhat touch or hits you. But I am using a wheel and pedals. I've got the old G27 out with this. It was a lot of work trying to get controllers to work as well. This game itself really doesn't want to be run, but I'm going to show it if I can. But finally got away from the first few corners. You can see the steering wheel itself has a lot of information on it, which is neat to see. At the time, it seemed space age to have in a sim. But what we do have in the bottom middle are our tires, and once they get up to temp a little bit, it becomes so much easier to control the cars. Oh, we're going to understeer here. There's smoke everywhere. The understeering as well makes the tires smoke, which we all know is very realistic. We'll come towards the end of the lap to complete the first one. And we got up to 18th there off the grid, but I've held station behind Wirtz here. There we go. Oh, we'll understeer a little bit there. So hard to judge the brakings. Oh, Hakkinen got the quickest lap, but we'll come through the final corner. So this track itself, you might be saying, wow, this is pretty rough for Albert Park. We got a mile of grass on the left side, which isn't there. The track profiles are off, but this is one of the better tracks that I've seen so far. Oh, I just got knocked into from the side, one of the Jordans. Or no, that's a Minardi. Oh, I bumped into him again. I guess we have indestructible wings here. As folks know that watch a lot of my videos, I don't like wrecking cars and things to show off games, but this is so difficult to drive, honestly. I've played around with all the wheel settings, trying to get something somewhat realistic, and I was very surprised because Sports Car GT, for instance, felt very good. I remember the other Formula One games from the time feeling pretty good, but even though this is an ISI game, it is so hard to control. It's got some weird things going on under the hood, and it feels much more arcade-ish than I remember these games feeling. Oh, got some oversteer there. Well, I guess it's not completely arcade because I was able to spin the car out. We'll try to get it spun back around and get on the accelerator. Alright, so not completely an arcade game if you're able to spin the car out, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on under the hood here. I remember when this came out, though, I got the demo for it, which featured Indianapolis as a track, and I feel like you could only hot lap around it, or maybe you could do a quick race, but only with a few cars.
Just put up the fastest lap of the race.
And your crew guy never stops talking in this. He just loves telling you every bit of information. But I just remember being blown away by this game because if you think of what else we might have been playing at the time, I know myself I was playing IndyCar Racing 2 and GP2. I hadn't gotten GP3 yet. And so when I booted this up, just the way the cars move looks pretty realistic compared to those games. Halfway, see if I can catch back up to the rear of the pack, but I don't know. At least take some semblance of a line. Yeah, but it was just an interesting level of realism. It is weird, though, how your mind thinks back to it differently, because I remember this being a whole lot more accurate than it actually is. And again, this is one of the better tracks that I've seen so far, so we'll go visit some of the funky ones here in a minute. Alright, so I'm on the final lap here, and I'm just catching the Minardi, one of the Minardis at the back, and I think an Arrow's right in front. See if I can keep it on here for the final few corners. Maybe catch up to them. Oh, the car kicked sideways there once again. Up through 6th gear, and we'll come up to the kink. Always a difficult corner, even if it does feel like I'm in a fever dream. Oh, I totally missed an apex. Oh, man. So, first outing, not so good. 22 out of 22. Can only go up from here. And Mika Hakkinen wins. Oh, the Minardi spun out. There we go. Not last, not last.
Michael Schumacher has finished in fourth.
We'll get the whole rundown as we come to the line. Oh, and the arrows ran wide in front. Oh, and a Benetton as well. They're just dropping like flies. All right, come out of the final corner, 20th. And it was all on skill. There we go.
Well done. You haven't scored any points, but at least you finished the race.
Well, it's very encouraging. Haven't scored points, but at least we finished. All right, so from Australia, we'll go to one of the most iconic tracks on the Formula One calendar, apparently Spa-Francorchamps with a capital IC. I've never seen it like that. Maybe it actually is that way, but I don't think so. But yeah, this is a really interesting one. All right, so here we are on the grid at Spa once again at the back. 3 laps around this track. See if we can make it. Lights are up. Out. We're underway. Ooh, a slow start from the Sauber in front there, but we'll come up. Oh, I've already hit somebody. We'll come up to the first corner, the hairpin, of course. Everybody stops. Oh, can we get around these guys? And I hit him once again, but we'll get around a couple cars at least, and then come down the hill. So terrible start, reminiscent of 98, I guess. But now we'll come towards Eau Rouge, and yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I think Vert's hit me from behind. We'll come over the top of the hill, and I almost don't know where I'm going. It's how bad the track is here. You could not show me a screenshot of this and tell me that it's Spa, but very interesting. Elevation changes especially. We'll come up to the end into Lacombe. I'm trying to work our way around the track here. Very narrow, the whole circuit, and the thing that's odd to me is the elevation profile of the circuit. Some of the corners... Ooh, we got a spin maybe in front of us. Oh, everybody's checking up. It's one of the... I think I just caught it there. One of the McLarens spun around. Just the AI keep it exciting. But it's odd, some of the elevation changes. A lot of them are smooth, like we're just coming over the hills there. Now we'll work our way down here, and it's not too bad, but there's a few very sharp elevation changes, and you have to wonder what was going on as they made the track like this. It's almost square-like. But for 2000, I'm being extra hard on it. For 2000, it was still very impressive, and yeah, it's a weird thing that context and many years does to you. Ooh, tried to shove it up the inside there, Vierno Trulli. We'll get the car out onto the straightaway, or some sort of resemblance of that on the backstretch here, up towards Blanchimont. Of course, this was from a time where Spa was still... Ooh, oh, it's truly almost stopping there in the track. Spa was still quite often just public roads back in these days on parts of it. We'll come through the classic bus stop. All right, so we got Michael Schumacher in the front, but I have passed a few more cars in Australia this time. We'll come across the line to complete the first lap. Tires, I think, have a little temperature. Oh, I just didn't stop and collided with De La Rosa there. My God, probably some of the worst driving I've had in any video, but this is such a hard game to drive. Oh, and he pays me back. Let's see if I can get the car righted here, and I think I lost a wing or something. Yeah, the tires are the least of my worries right now, but we'll get back on the track. So I lost all of the positions. Well, we do have a Minardi off, so I'll get around him through Lacombe. But I think I'm way far off the rest of the track, or the rest of the cars, and wow, I can barely control this thing. We'll get a position on a Prost there. Heidfeld's going to get back around me. I can barely keep the speed up without the rear wing. I think it's the rear wing that would have fallen off. And he gets around me on the outside. It's Nick Heidfeld. It's a name I haven't heard in a little while. All right, I'm going to try to go in the pits and see if we can fix the wing, although obviously I'm not going to get it back, but I haven't done a pit stop yet. Oh, all right, so we can fill the fuel, but I do not want to do that. We'll change the tires, front wing, and damage repair. So we'll come up and see what the crew looks like. It looks like we do actually have a 3D crew, which is cool. A bunch of other guys standing on the pit lane. Come to the stall. Okay, so it's animated and everything. Pretty cool for the time. Or I think it's animated. Maybe they won't pull the tires off. I should mention the car is driving itself as well through the pit lane. I think there's a way maybe to shut that off, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. Well, we'll see how long this stop takes here as they repair all the damage. All right, there come the tires off. It's taking the crew quite a while. Come on, boys. All right, first gear. And here we go, coming out of the pits. Okay, so 30 seconds or something.
You're running 20 seconds.
Yeah, 22nd, dead last. But we'll see if
21st.
I can get a decent lap in this last lap at Spa. Such a strange version of the track. I mean, they must have just been looking at a map from the top down. Oh, maybe we didn't repair the wing. All right, so we'll come through the final couple corners. I was able to limp it around the rest of the lap, and yeah, pretty shameful performance here at Spa, but what could you expect?
Well done. You haven't scored any points, but at least you finished the race.
Look at all the tires. Did they fix anything in the pits? I don't know, but no rear wing either, so that's what caught us out. Ugh, what a time. All right, so I think we've outperformed our seat at BAR and figured maybe it'd be fun to try racing for the Red Horse itself, and maybe Rubens Barrichello's out sick for a race, and we'll take over his car. And after the catastrophe at Spa, I don't know why this will be any better, but figured I should show off what Monaco looks like in F1 2000. All right, so here we are on the grid. This one is going to be all about survival, but lights are lit. We're underway. Oh, cars already going side by side in front. A little bit of smoke there. We'll see if I can sneak up the outside maybe. Come down towards the first corner. Brake heavily. Oh, get run into from behind. Oh, and everybody gets packed up. This is worse than Spa 1998. I don't know where to go. Just try to push them along, I guess. We gotta... Yeah, I think that's a Benetton sideways in front. All right, getting unstuck there. Oh, I don't know what happened, but now we're in 17th. I think the car might be undamaged. We're following a couple of the Minardis up the hill. Try to slow down, make sure I don't overdo it into Casino. Or what should be Casino here. Around the corner. Flat track towards Mirabeau, of course. Oh, downhill steeply on the exit of the corner. We'll come towards the hairpin. Got the two Minardis right in front. That's no good if you're a Ferrari driver. Take the widest line coming in to the hairpin, but don't hit the walls. And I don't know what's going on in the background towards the ocean. I don't know if that might be more of an artifact of playing it on a modern computer, but we'll come through the tunnel. Oh, just lifting a little bit there. Come down to the chicane. Should be able to, I thought I was going to be able to get up the inside of the Minardi there. So it was Marc Genet in front of me. So we'll come towards the end of the lap. I actually cannot remember what Monaco's layout was like in 2000. Maybe, yeah, it's definitely got the swimming pool. There we go. I have not done any practice laps around here yet. As you can tell as I lock up the brakes in every corner. Oh, it's so tight through here. All right, we'll come towards the end of the lap. And surviving lap one at Monaco, I guess, no small feat. See what kind of carnage is left over up at turn one. Yeah, he's right in front of me.
He's running 18, about
5 seconds behind. I wonder who, I gotta look at the credits to see who it was that actually did the voice. I feel like it actually remained the same through all of these EA F1 games, for the PC at least. Alright, how are we gonna get around these two cars in front? Oh, we can do that. Alright, nobody saw that. There's no cameras there. Oh, understeer straight into the wall. It's all coming apart quite quickly. Yeah, this is quite interesting. I mean, at the time, this would have been very, very good. are not very good. I mean, it's nowhere near the fidelity that Grand Prix 3 has, but I remember feeling like it was very good. So that's what I mean when I say it was very good. I think there's just the 3D polygons, how many polygons there were in things to make them look more realistic was just shocking enough that we kind of ignored maybe how the tracks were shaped. I don't know. But it's funny, if I read reviews from the times, they do note the circuits here and there, but it's not a focal point. And obviously, playing this now, there's a bunch of weird things going on, but the circuits are the most egregious. Ugh. Let's hit the turn the head button there. All right. Ugh. I feel like I'm on ice a bit too. It's odd that the physics are so weird, considering, again, that it's an ISI game. I do appreciate that the Ferrari cockpit here, quite a bit different shape than the BAR we were in before. Looks a bit nicer, actually, I think. But that type of detail wasn't present in some other games from the time. When you're racing Formula 1, you do want to feel like you're racing the different cars. You don't really want them to all be the same. Ugh. Understeer once again into the hairpin wall there. Really hard to get around the slow corners here. Alright, so still in 16th. Starting the 4th out of 5th lap. I love how enthusiastically he tells you how close the competitors are. Try to get around the top of the corner. There is force feedback available in this game, but it's not something I can get to work even with the G27, so that's maybe one of the difficult things about driving it these days versus back when operating systems understood what to do with the game. Ugh, cars all over the place. It certainly isn't performing like a Ferrari. Maybe got a little bit of damage from hitting the wall here or there. Heinz-Harald Frentzen has crashed. I'm not sure what happened to them. What happened to him there? Oh, we got a crashed car. Jordan there, wings and bits all over the place. It seems like the AI love crashing towards the end of the race, which I guess is good for me, being slow at the back here. All right, we'll come to start the final lap. All right, we'll come down to the chicane. So not able to, and I'll just blow the chicane. So I get a penalty. Maybe I could have done that the whole time. Doesn't seem like the game cared very much, but not able to catch the Minardi in front, which is surprising. I wonder how much damage I actually do have from this. Another spun out car. One of the BMWs there, that was Schumacher. It's very confusing with how many Schumachers there are, but I'm not one of them. We'll come through the final corner, first gear, come to the line. That's almost as hard as real Monaco.
Well done. You haven't scored any points, but at least you finished the race.
Yeah, well, it looks like I don't have my front wing, so that might explain a little bit of the handling woes. Who knows when that happened, but very rough version of Monaco, I think we could all agree. All right, and it's time to redeem myself, or at least try. So I think I'll go with Jaguar for the last race here, and just to show it off, because it was the new big track in 2000, go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and check out what the road course was like in the theory of the developers of this game. All right, so here we are on the grid. Hopefully this one will go all right. Lights are lit. We're underway at Indianapolis. Cars all break away to the left there. I'll see if I can scoot up the inside. Past a whole bunch of cars, up to 16th already. We'll come down towards the first corner. And a melee in front. Car spinning out. I think it's an Arrows. We'll come down to the first corner. Oh my God. Stop it there for a second. I think almost the whole field spun. I'm up to 10th now. I don't know if I have damage. Trying to feel out the car here, but I don't know what happened to the first corner. It seemed to just disappear in front of me. I'm trying to guide it through now. Of course, this layout has the extra turn here. We're going through to the left. It's been removed pretty much from the modern road course layouts. We'll come through, turn a right here, onto Holman Drive. All right, so up to 10th, just through the first couple of corners. See how the end of the lap goes. Cold tires still, so need to try to be extra careful slowing down. Oh, very tight here. A lot tighter than the real circuit is, but closing up on the crust in front. Sean O'Lacey. We're going to try to get a good exit. Oh, he slows down a lot coming onto the Indianapolis Oval. And of course, in 2000, as it was for many years, F1 races on the proper Indy Oval for turn one come through. It's very, very narrow. We'll come onto the front straightaway to complete the first lap. Side by side, Sean O'Lacey rockets on by. I'm a little slow on straight line speed. We'll come down to turn one. And, oh, where's the apex? I don't know. Oh, Sean O'Lacey spun out behind me. I think we had a Jordan off as well to the right. It seems like the apex of turn one isn't actually there, and I wonder if because they're probably building this off of just maps, since it didn't really exist yet when the game was being created in 1999, 2000. I wonder if they just didn't know that there was going to be that extra apex in turn one. Nevertheless, try to concentrate ahead, 8 positions in front. To the end of home and drive. See if I can stick it up the inside of the Prost. Oh, no, he's going to spin me out. I kind of took myself out there. I'll try to get it straightened out, though. Try not to lose too much time. Oh, BAR gets around. Al breaks himself, though. Who's that? Villeneuve, of course. It's a very Villeneuve move to do. So spun out the car, but we got a few laps. See if I can catch back up to the group in front. No sign of them in front. They did get the crowd right, though. The crowd at this race in real life, like I said in the intro, is just amazing to see, and it's a great reason to go back and watch this race. It was a very special Grand Prix, I think. The inaugural U.S. Grand Prix at Indianapolis. One of the best. The race itself, I don't remember being... Oh, car off there, too, and a hit of wing that was on the track. Always something going on here. I don't remember the race itself being anything too spectacular, but I just remember more the excitement about it. All right, come out onto home and drive. I can see some smoke ahead, so I know I'm not too far back. Slow it down. Just understeering so much there. Really does feel like you have to baby the car around the circuit, and I don't know why the physics are so much different than Sports Car GT. But there we go, come out of the final corner. Closing in now, I can see the Prost in front. Nick Heidfeld. Would that be... I don't remember if he raced for Sauber or Prost in 2000. We'll see once we get a little closer. All right, we got another spin ahead, maybe. Ooh, I got the fastest lap. All right. That bodes well. Oh, yeah, there's smoke and parts everywhere. 3 seconds. Oh, no. All right, so we've caught up to Heidfeld. Yeah, and he's in the Prost. Get the Jaguar in front of my teammate. Just tentatively on the gas there, trying not to spin it out. Gonna run out of time here, though, to pass too many more. Maybe you can get a couple, get up into the points. I think it was just top 6, right, as I lock up all of the brakes. We'll try to hang it around the outside, which will turn into the inside here. Oh, my teammate runs a little wide. These two go side by side in front. Oh. That was a quick move. Here we go. I don't know why the AI seemed to slow down there in the most crucial acceleration zone. Oh, there as well. Get around the other Prost. Maybe he had a problem. Got another car going in the pits. So I'm up to 5th. All right, we'll come to the line, start the final lap. I don't know what happened to the few cars in front.
You're on the final lap. Well done.
And my teammate coming to the outside. Oh, and he gets all the way around. Try to slow it down for turn 1. Just go all the way to the bollard there. But I can see 2 of the cars in front. Car does increase grip so much as the tires get warm. You can see on the middle of the steering wheel at the bottom, the temperature. Rocket out. So I got David Coulthard in one of the McLarens in front of me, and a Ferrari as well. Could I get a podium? I'll just try to push it as hard as I can. Just a few corners left though. If I don't get them coming onto the straightaway, there's no hope on the straightaway itself. But closing in right to the back of Coulthard. Try to keep the speed up here. Yeah, he gets brake checked. I don't know what they're doing. We'll come onto the oval. The Ferrari right in front. Rubens Barrichello in fourth. We're just not going to have the straight line speed, I don't think. In the slipstream, though, coming around the final corner. In a straight line, fourth place.
Second. Well done, you finished fourth. Rubens Barrichello has finished third. Coulthard has finished in fifth. Johnny Herbert has finished sixth.
So a nail biter to the finish there, but pretty fun actually. Once I got through that spin from the beginning, the circuit itself, I would say, I don't know how this track is more accurate than some of the tracks that actually existed when this game was made, but they definitely only had maps and maybe some initial, building of the track to go off of when they probably had to make this. So I don't know how they got this better than Monaco, but this track itself does seem a little bit better. So, F1 2000, maybe best left in the nostalgia box. Keep it there. Don't open it because it's not quite the same as you remember, but really interesting to see where this little run of F1 sims from EA and ISI started. And of course, ISI went on to do great things with R Factor and R Factor 2, and of course the other EA F1 sims as well. But thought this one would be interesting, setting this one up to try a couple other things. So, might be back with it soon, but yeah. I don't know if I would play this one in my free time, but certainly fun to look at for an evening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again next time.